Let me see it if you're looking for a trio type figure. Let me be take it out, chick, bend over. Let me see it if you're looking for a trio type figure. Let me be it,
And what's up, everybody, to another episode TST Live. September 5th, 2025, 11:05. I was supposed to be on earlier, but work is getting me, and I know I made my promise yesterday to come on like yesterday, and then I guess with some things, other things going on right now, I just kind of wanted to talk about it too. But yeah, definitely been a little busy, so that also delays me from doing the episode, delays me from doing other things. But thank you for coming through. Definitely a lot of stuff going on from the Chinese military parade happening a few days ago. Prior to that, there was a summit between Putin, Xi Jinping, and then also the Indian, I believe, the of India, the leader of India. But no, it was just like, so that summit happened, and then like the next day there was an actual parade, which I thought was kind of interesting. And also kind of brought me back to when I was over there, because and I actually lived there for a bit in Beijing, China. So when I saw this video of this, pretty much military parade, which was like a post era, how can I put it, post era World War, kind of when they used to do it in the Cold War. So back, I mean, it's been more than a few years since the Chinese have actually done this type of parade. And when they were, a lot of people watched this, all over the world, and it is still true. How can I put it? Too good to be true in a way, not knocking the, definitely that military looked pretty sharp. I'm not definitely backing up anything on that end, but it was definitely kind of impressive to watch all of these military personnel walk in front of Tiananmen Square in Beijing, China. And then it was pretty much a showcase to the world of the 80-year reunion, or anniversary, I guess, of I wouldn't say an anniversary, but 80 years since the end of World War II, and the Chinese and the Japanese, which there's a lot of other history dealing with that as well, with the Japanese and Chinese. When I was actually over there, it was still talked about that there was still definitely a feud there between the Japanese and the Chinese. That a lot of Chinese had passed away when they were at war with Japan. But yet again, that's a whole other subject. But going back to the military parade, which was what I was talking about, uh, which I thought was pretty interesting. It definitely threw me back to when, yeah, just, I mean, I definitely was on Tiananmen Square. Definitely talk about uh, quite a bit when it came to, if anybody knows, there was a Mao, which was the, um, I'm trying to get this screen on. Yeah, there we go. This guy, I don't want to hear him. Yeah, so pretty much what I was saying is that, um, the Tiananmen Square, there's an actual, the actual leader from the 40s and 30s actually is still there, and I don't know, I guess he's like kind of mummified, but they actually have him displayed there on. Well, there's like, it's almost Tiananmen Square is like obviously a big square, and a lot of memorabilia of the war, Chinese uh, flags everywhere, and then off to the side, there's an actual Mao from that they actually kept his body and he's actually there displayed in the museum there. It's just kind of strange. But then you go into like you go to actually into another room, and this other room is well, it's like a tourist room. It's like a souvenir shop room in the Forbidden City on Tiananmen Square, which is another part. Forbidden Cities, which is also a lot of history there. I mean, a lot of history there. So all this military personnel was set up on that street. But my point back to that souvenir shop, in there was they've been doing this for years. These type of parades. So they're pretty good at doing these parades and showing their might and showing what they have. And it's always been an ongoing thing. Russia used to do it as well, where they would show off some of the military and then show off some of the arms and everything they have. Um, but I mean, when it comes to the military, it is definitely. I mean, the during boot camp and in the Navy, you learn to do march, and that's what unifies you as together as being a one. Like pretty much like well, I was in the Navy, but I mean, it still has the same mindset as if you're in an army or you're in the army. When you're and and the thing is that that's like baby steps, cleaning and then being unified, being together, marching at the same time, being synchronized. And one thing we could not get right was some of us would mess up, but it was more the base of being unified, of having that unification, of see how they're all jumping at the same time. It's all unified, and then they have these cameras set up to where they are, they're definitely good editors because they're editing everything out. So what I'm saying to this military parade, very impressive, uh, very, very impressive. But at the same time, they had been practicing this for a while. They had been practicing for this parade since like I've heard like May or June. So obviously, they actually, I believe they were physically practicing for this military parade. And you know what? Let me make sure my sound's right. Because no one. Yeah, it's right. All right, cool. So yeah, so I think it's pretty cool. Definitely, it was I mean, I watched it live. I happened to catch it live, and it was kind of interesting just to see it, and some of the places that I kind of got to go see, and it's definitely a very interesting place. A lot of history, which is what a lot of Westerners don't understand, is that the Chinese have deep, deep history in that land or that part of the world. Um, I mean, America's only been going for what 200 and something years, and China's been at it for about 2,000 years. So I mean, they're all there's definitely that mindset. I mean, look at that unification. Look at it. I mean, they just don't wake up and just do do this naturally. They practice every day. Um, if anything, that's what they're getting paid for. They get paid to practice and be, I guess, giving us the impression that they're all unified, and they are unified. I mean, look at that. The whole, but then also they showed the other views of where um, the public wasn't even open to this. So this was all definitely they had blocks, literally. So like Tiananmen Square is a pretty um, dominant area for all tourists. It's pretty much in sync. I see they got their planes in the distance that look like ours. Oh yeah, it looks like ours too. It looks like the E2 Hawkeye. Look at that. It looks like the F-22. Looks like exactly like it. Probably. I mean, it resembles F-35, and then I believe these are the dang. I don't know the name of that one, but it all resembles. I think it's the 5. I forgot what the name of their jet is, But I guess yeah. So they're showing off all the jets and everything. It's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. So yeah, like I was saying, yeah, Asia definitely looks like they're definitely their engineering's on another level now. Obviously, definitely a lot of it's replicas of things that we've designed and other countries have designed. So no, it was just like I said, it was just very interesting to me. But like I said, the public wasn't even open to this. This is literally closed off from the public. World leaders were there, pretty much on the other side, western part of the world. Um, a lot of them came through. They were personally invited. Um, and then also the VIP guest was Putin and Kim Jong Un. Kim Jong Un, obviously, if you don't know, he's the leader of North Korea, and then obviously Putin is the leader of Russia. So, very interesting things, very interesting stuff for history being made right now. Um, you know, it's just like I said, it's just kind of just opens my eyes a little more. Let me fast forward. Yeah, see, look at that. Yeah, look at that. They're just marching like it ain't nothing. Like I said, they've been practicing for that. That's their. I mean, to think about China, that army is not involved in a lot of conflicts right now. They wake up and they train and they go to bed and wake up again, train, go to bed, wake up and train. And I'm not saying none of them are not legit soldiers. They're definitely legit soldiers. It's just I'm saying like it's just I believe when the Chinese government runs their military, it runs it a lot different than the U.S. military. And a lot of these people don't have opportunities like we have here in the U.S., where you actually have the choice of uh, of not serving. Over there, most of the time you have to serve. You don't have a choice of, oh yeah, I don't feel like serving because I'm gonna go to college. No, there you have to serve. So, like I said, there's a lot of pros and cons to it. And this is my point of view. I heard some other journalists' point of views on it, and I definitely didn't go to school to be a journalist, but I definitely did experience what life is over there, um, and I did definitely was there for quite a while, um, and also I did, I'll be honest, there's some things that I did experience that I never thought I would experience there, which I'm not going to really talk about. Um, but and the reason I can't is like I said, it was a contract job, and um, I mean not to think anything too much serious. I mean too much of it, but the idea that yeah, I mean like I said, a lot of the ways over there are very different, and this is just a perfect example. And it was Xi Jinping, 72 years old, Tiananmen Square, right there. This is Forbidden City. So Forbidden City there. There's some more leaders there. There goes Putin at the end. Um, Pretty much a lot of people that are really upset with us too as well. So very interesting. So yeah, I thought I'd bring that up. I thought it was pretty interesting to go ahead and just bring that up and speak about it. And also, I had to put my dog to sleep, which is another reason why sometimes I can't get on here to like start talking about whatever I want to talk about. But yeah, that was what I wanted to bring up. There was another video that I'll go ahead and show you too, and this one was just definitely showing how people were blocked off from it, which I thought was pretty funny. Because they were literally um, showing like what it is behind the curtain. So So this is what this is another one that was that they're referring to.
Parade like this one broadcast on state TV in 2015 to celebrate the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II in the Pacific. But the general public isn't allowed to go. The CNBC Bureau overlooks
Oh, this sounds like for her.
primary parade route. So in theory, we could watch the celebrations from here. But the government won't allow it. The building authorities have told us to keep the window shut and not to be in the office during the event. Why throw a party and not let everyone join?
So, like she was saying right here, she was saying, like, you know, pretty much right there, they could watch the event, but there's government officials, there's people out there who watch each other, and then they would report you. So, I mean, you never want any trouble. Like, a lot of people don't understand. Like, when I was over there, like, you could get in serious trouble for doing things that, it's like, it's almost being the black sheep because you're a foreigner there and they know you are. So, yeah, they're willing to just catch you and just catch you red-handed if they can. But then, you know, the trouble has to kind of come towards you, meaning, you know, or you have to bring the trouble to you, vice versa. But if you're in a situation, you don't want to get in trouble in China, and then also you don't want to bring trouble to you. But there is situations that do happen. And I can say that, yeah, well, I mean, you are sometimes told to leave it if you have to, because you don't want a situation with the government, because then sometimes, you know, the government not gonna be able to get you out of it anyways. Our government, even if you're there, you know, for whatever reason, you know, and you're legitimately supposed to be there. So, like what she's saying, you know, you could probably just sit there and watch it and see this freeway that she's behind. It's like the street that goes down to Tiananmen Square. That's what I think she was referring to, because the parade literally went like miles and miles in front of. So, like, Tiananmen Square is obviously like the center of Beijing in a way. It's almost like the central part. And then you got down the way, I think it's Wafu Jing Street, if I remember, and it's almost like reminds me like a Times Square kind of deal in a way, where you walk down, there's like a long mall. But anyway, so she goes into talking about that, and then, you know, these are actually people who
Why throw a party and not let everyone join?
Yeah.
On TV, party authorities want the public to see the party firmly in control. They're worried that, you know, there are discontented people in China and something might go wrong, and they want to at all costs prevent that from happening. They're worried about the impact that it might have on the perceptions that it's giving to Chinese citizens.
But it's been hard to hide the extensive preparations. Rehearsals have gone on since early August. Fighter jets have flown overhead, helicopters hover in formation. Even tanks have been caught on camera transported into the capital. The main parade route is heavily patrolled. More than 6 square miles, 4 times the size of New York Central Park, are under lockdown. Everyone's preparing for a rehearsal right now, but this is the path of the parade that's going to file past President Xi Jinping at Tiananmen Square. Russia's Vladimir Putin, party dignitaries, and other handpicked people will be there too. On China's Victory Day, the closest anyone from the public will be is at least a street away. Barriers have been set up even further. Some fences for traffic painted in rainbow colors to make the controls feel more festive.
Looking at the parade itself, you really are just going to see a stage-managed performance of total control. For many observers at home, you're going to look at that and think, wow, everything in China is just perfect. It's conveying a false impression of the reality of China, which, of course, in some ways is what Beijing really wants.
Yeah, he like summed it up like perfectly right there when he said that. You know, they want you to just believe everything is pitch perfect, but it's really not. So, I mean, it is kind of scary that things like that are occurring, you know, and then definitely what's happening, which is kind of crazy, you know. But On to the next, which is another interesting story that I just recently found out today, or actually broke out on the New York Times today, which I thought was pretty interesting. And obviously, a lot of these Dems are going to jump all over it. I know. The left is just definitely going to be all over this. But I mean, I really don't know what else, or how else to put it. So, how this story broke on New York Times, there was definitely a few people, or I guess, who vouched that this story is kind of true. How a top secret SEAL Team 6 mission into North Korea fell apart. The 2019 Operation greenlit by President Trump sought a strategic edge. It left unarmed North Koreans dead. So boom. So they actually talked to him today about it, and obviously he denied it. He denied he knew anything about it. Or I think he said something along. I think he just still didn't know what was pertaining to it, but the story had already broke. This was on New York Times. So story broke, which is pretty crazy. And, from me reading the story, which is, I never really believe everything I read in newspapers, because sometimes, most of the time in newspapers, you really don't know if the sources are especially unknown sources. So like this whole article has unknown sources. And believe me, people, I'm not covering up for Trump already, and I'm not even doing that. He definitely could have made a big mistake by by letting this follow through, and this being his last term. But my point is, there's still always a lot of factors, and I mean, this is not. Just what gets me now is the fact that some of these things leak, and when they do leak out, it's not really to learn from. It's really just to hurt people from it, or just to hurt administrations, and just kind of stir chaos. Now, I'm not justifying that what happened, when it says it left unarmed North Koreans dead, that's justified. But what my point is that, I feel when you have operations like this happen and the public knows details about it, there's always going to be a lot of judgment, which coming from, I feel when you're involved in the military and you're involved in like government, type of secret, especially top secret missions where they involve SEAL Team 6. I mean, there's definitely going to be some things that will go wrong and can go wrong. I mean, if anybody doesn't know about Marcos Luttrell and the lone survivor, that was another mission that didn't go well either, and a lot of people got lost that operation. So I mean, my point is just it just always just amazes me on how the media already jumps and pushing this story as if everything's 100% true, which there's still unknown sources of where this information actually came from. And I mean, it's just like, I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm not saying a lot of it's untrue. What my point is, it's still a story that's posted in the newspaper. So who's to say that this stuff isn't even in any truth? I mean, if there's any truth to it at all, so whatsoever, which is my point. So reading the story, 2019, a group of Navy SEALs, pretty much went in the cold, and it explains how, the whole point of this was just to drop a secret listening device on shore. What they would have to do is get taken in by submarine, and then the submarine releases some other mini subs, and these mini subs are wet mini subs, and the wet mini subs are where they're exposed to the water. So they're driving these subs. Apparently, it took them about 2 hours to get from leaving the submarine, and they get released. So they have to like depressurize, get released from there, go in these 2 little mini subs, and then go to their destination. And then everything's time synchronized. So everything has to be synchronized by time. Any little mistake, which the story lists out mistakes that were actually made. Simply the mini submarine being parked in like incorrect way, time being wasted on that. It was so there was just a few mistakes being leading up to when then they encountered a possible fishing boat with unarmed civilians on there, where they had taken in shots from the SEALs. So whether this is true or not, who knows? So the other big detail, small but big detail, is that they were blacked out. So meaning like they had no communications with the government for this time being. So it was almost like similar in a way to the Bin Laden, shooting or killing, where SEAL Team 6 had to go into there as well. And then when they went in there as well, they really couldn't expose themselves because there was also a chance that the Pakistani army could capture them, and then it's going to roll into another big situation between the United States and Pakistan dealing with that one. So this was also the same situation. Same situation was just that they couldn't afford having any type of, like it says here, the mission had the potential to provide the United States with a stream of valuable intelligence, but it meant putting American commandos on North Korean soil, a move that, if detected, not only could sink negotiations, but also could lead to a hostage crisis or escalating conflict with a nuclear armed foe. Because this was at the time, 2019, when he was shooting up a bunch of, he was trying out a bunch of his interballistic missiles, I guess, IBMs. So anyways, but yeah, he was just shooting off a bunch of rockets. So when he was shooting these off, that's when Trump went over there and started talking and seeing if he can put some sense in him, but just like chill out. But he still is, yeah. So he is still in charge of North Korea. Still has nuclear weapons. It is said they have about 50 to 40 nukes. Yet again, if that's true or not, I mean, nobody knows. But that's speculated even by our government. Yeah, so I think it's just like almost like a movie, dropping some SEALs off out of a submarine underwater. By that, oh yeah, and also at this time too, the water was freezing cold, so the Navy SEALs actually had to wear warming suits to keep their body warm, and then scuba dive under, and then be actually under the water for about 2 hours in these mini subs where, like I said, they're called wet mini subs. So they're actually exposed to the outer element of the water, just being there and then driving it. Apparently, it was about a total of 8 SEALs. And then one mini sub had a set of tasks, and then the other half of the SEAL team had another set of tasks. So very interesting stuff. This I love to just dive in, but yeah, it's just so interesting to me. And I'm kind of, like I said, I'm kind of glad I came on and came on tonight so I could talk about it, because I am very tired right now. So like it says in the article, this account is based on interviews with 24 people, including civilian government officials, members of the first Trump administration, and current and former military personnel with knowledge of the mission. All of them spoke on the condition of anonymity. I can't even say that word. But yeah. So they're being anonymous because of the mission's classified status. So crazy. Several of these people said they were discussing details about the mission because they were concerned that special operation failures are often hidden by government secrecy, of course. If the public and policymakers become aware of only of high-profile successes, such as the raid that killed bin Laden in Pakistan, then they may underestimate the extreme risk that American forces undertake. So that, I mean, yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like a give and take, you know. I mean, it's like, I mean, how many other operations that we don't know about that didn't go well as well, you know? I mean, that's the power that the president has, you know. I mean, that's what he has to sleep with at night when things like this happen, you know. So I just think it's just like, you know, this is just another, you know, example of things that we don't know, you know, when you lay your head down at night, you know, and you think that that your government is not trying to protect you or vice versa. I mean, yeah, definitely, you know, there's these government um, special operation, you know, yeah, these, you know, they go out they're doing these high profile government work, you know. I don't know, man, it's crazy. Just like, I mean, so also to know was that they actually had practice for this. They were training over and over and over, and yeah, just like I said, it ran into a few problems from the where they missed their target to park the mini sub, and then finally there was like some type of fishing boat that spotted them, and it was more of the fishing boat just noticing like some glowing lights below the water. So I mean, who knows? These people probably thought, you know, that um, maybe it was like some UFO or something, you know, and then next thing you know, they find out that they're Navy SEALs. So like I said, you know, I mean, did this happen? Did this um is this where some of our diplomacy with North Korea kind of went to nothing? Because um that was another thing that was noted was the fact that, you know, this was at the time when President Trump had met up with Kim Jong Un, and I think these killings had just happened or not happened. It was in the article. um, yeah, so yeah, it was 2019, um, and then I believe this happened in 2019. Uh, yeah, so the job was given to SEAL Team 6 in 2019. Military officials said. Um, Even for Team 6, the mission would be extraordinarily difficult. SEALs who were more used to quick raids in places like Afghanistan and Iraq would have to survive for hours in frigid seas, slip past security forces on land, perform a precise technical installation, and then get out undetected. So that's what I'm saying, man. I mean, it's like obviously the talks went to crap. Afterwards, they had to go in and pretty much go in and maybe try to plant this device to figure out what was going on and if he was going to shoot some more nukes or not. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think whether it would have been the Democrats or the Republicans, you know, they probably still would have done the same type of mission. So I mean, I'm not even taking like, oh yeah, you know, the Republicans. No, man. My point is that, you know, it's just one of the many operations that we so happen to have found out about, but there's many other ones that we don't even know nothing about. But then, of course, the North Korean military are quick to react in some of these areas, so they had to be undetectable. But to be in frigid cold water undersea, scuba diving for about 2 hours from one location to another, I think I've been under for about 45 minutes under in the sea, and even that's kind of like where I'm down there. I'm like, damn, I want to go up. So yeah, I can only imagine just being down there for 2 hours, and you know, and then it's cold, and then they had to wear warm suits. Oh man. So yeah, so like I said, I thought it was an interesting deal, to bring up. This is one of the submarines. See, this one took U.S. nuclear powered guided missile submarine takes part in exercises near Okinawa, Japan. A similar submarine transported a Navy SEAL team to waters off the North Korea in 2019. Crazy. Woo! Man. Go Navy. So this is like similar to like what the bay might have looked late at night and them having to be in that water. Yeah. So there, and then yeah, so this would be like one of those mini subs that I was talking about that they can jump in and out of. It's crazy. Hats off to those dudes, man. Hey, man. Woo. And then there's another part over here. Yeah, so I mean, the article goes more into the background, and that obviously with this happening, that President Trump didn't get approval from the House or top leaders or any type of committees. They just went ahead and did it. But like I said, as Commander in Chief. Alrighty. On to the next. So yeah, so I mean, I'm staying on top of this story. But like I said, I thought it was pretty interesting with the Navy being involved, and I had to kind of look into the story a little bit more before I actually reported on it. Because they're all basing off this article in New York Times. So this article is what exposed it in New York Times. So interesting article. Definitely interesting. Whether it's 100% true, I'm not sure. Kind of everything seems like kind of on point, but I mean, they say there was no when. So also when these fishing boat came across these Navy SEALs in the water. After, like I had said, they had made a few mistakes leading up to get to the shore to try to put this listening device there. They came across this boat, and apparently there was no guns even on the boat. So that, I mean, these people weren't even military apparently. But how true is that? I don't know. Like I said, I don't. Like I said, I feel like especially in a country divide, like especially with North Korea, you still don't know. They're if they were to have, they would still have reported seeing the SEALs. So I mean, it's whether they lose their lives or they get taken in, they get put into custody, or they report back. And next you know, North Korean military is out there trying to take these Navy SEALs in or capture them, and then there's a hostage situation. So, like I said, I mean, I think that's just like the nature of the beast, It's like, what can go wrong will go wrong, and then once it does go wrong, it's either, leave in one piece or don't leave at all, and that's not, you want to leave back home. Definitely don't want to be in North Korea. But yeah. So there goes that one. But I was gonna go real quick into the Raja, and then I mean I don't know how true this one is. And this one is also from New York Post. And so it's back to the Raja Jackson thing, the Raja Jackson situation, and apparently his dad has cut him off. UFC legend Rampage Jackson cut off contact with son, or with his son. Says he should spend a little more time. Come on. Says he should spend a little more time in jail for attacking pro wrestler. Kind of messed up. So, if you didn't know, Roger Jackson is the son of Rampage Jackson. I reported on the last, I think, an episode ago, and it was dealing with how Roger flipped out and went into a wrestling ring and knocked out Psycho Stu and started hitting him repeatedly in the head, back and forth when he was unconscious, just to get over on him. And then also just to have a stream going. Crazy, dude. Crazy. So, Rampage went on the show, went on, a podcast, the Ariel Helwani show. And he said he dishonored my name. That's what Rampage says. I know he's he's cuss, F son. I'm not cutting him off forever. I just haven't talked to him. I've talked to him after this crap happened, and he hid the fact that he did this crap and put my other kids at danger based off what other people said. I just can't talk to him right now. Wow. Jackson condemned his son's behavior during the wrestling show, saying he was wrong and went against what I told him to do for repeatedly punching Psycho Stu, 44-year-old military veteran whose real name is Stuart Smith. Roger's not a pro wrestler. He's a fighter. He's not a pro wrestler. He had no business in that ring, Jackson told the podcast. So, I mean, that pretty much says it. I mean, right there. I mean, he's backing away. He's letting his son go ahead and, claim his own mistake or whatever he did, which I think is pretty crazy. But yeah. I mean, I think he's definitely going to follow up some charges, and then it's definitely going to go from there. So, well, everybody, the reason I was able to get on here also is that I'm involved in some classes now, so I have to be on this computer a little bit more. So that'll be my deal tomorrow. Definitely subscribe, please. Like it, leave a comment, let me know how I'm doing, please. But yeah, everybody, thank you for definitely watching, definitely getting with me tonight. Know it's kind of late, before I go, I did want to say something. I guess this is just a very general thing of what I'm saying, that's on my mind. And it just goes into with how I feel treating people. I've always been the type, I'll be honest, that I know since I was little, I've never been the most perfect person. But then now, it still seems like sometimes some of these things are still held against me sometimes, and I've always understood that nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes, Now I feel we're if somebody's making the same mistake over and over, then obviously there's a problem, because then there's a pattern. But after somebody makes a mistake and then nobody actually speaks about it or even talks about it, and let me back up. What Tristan has, that when people make mistakes, it like nobody talks about it anymore. I do remember a time where before social media, before these cell phones, people actually used to talk to each other face to face. And I can say ever since I got out of the Navy, that, and I'm using that as just like a marking point, because when I got out, I did see things a lot differently than I see things now, but I see things better now than I did then. And even then, that did help me out to like kind of focus in on things that I wanted or wanted to try to do. But I didn't succeed at that either. I guess I kind of lost myself, but what I'm saying is that, you make mistakes, and it just really puzzles me, is that people still hold you against things that I feel, looking back, were kind of beyond my control, because I've said this too, that even say if myself now would go back in time to tell me not to do certain things that I did that I shouldn't have done, I don't think I still would listen to my own self. But that's the big thing what I was getting at is just that, when people make mistakes, it's just hard for me to understand how people don't kind of forgive you and let it bypass, or not that, let you at least speak your side to the story, which is like I was saying earlier. I feel nowadays there's nothing ever really talked about. Nobody talks anymore, really. Nobody discusses things. And I just think sometimes that's kind of an issue. But that's fine, because I think that's my point of the way I am, which is also why I have a podcast. That's because I like talking. And I definitely love explaining certain situations, and even during certain situations, and in my own view. And then sometimes I'm not right either, and then some people can call me out on that too, but that's fine. Now, does that happen? That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen like at all, really. Because then I'll come out and just say it. I don't know, or I didn't know that I did that. I apologize, but that rarely happens though, which is my point. But yeah, I just kind of was just doing it like just my own little rant before I left. But yeah, so damn, we're only at 48 minutes now. All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming through. Please like and subscribe. I got my Instagram on the bottom. I got my other Instagram. I need to hit these open mics, but between training and everything else, just time matter. I can't fit everything in my life, So I thought y'all would like a little UGK before I head out. And then anybody, like I said, if y'all catch me on here and y'all want to jump on, holler at me. Jump on, There's no voice. No voice. There's voice. All right, everybody. Work something, twerk something, bass, making big change, dancing in the tricks, bass, sleeping.
sleeping today, but bounce a booty at night. You banging the mob, but she been playing with my pipe. Like mine, gator, you will see him. And red, undercover PM. And cuz down on the floor. Be alive, money making pro. You take it out. And burst class, nigga, break you